Welcome to our Airbnb in LA. We're gonna be here for the whole month, desperately trying to find a place to live. So this will be my setup for the next month, and today I've got a whole bunch of new stuff to talk about. We've got the REM Concealer from Ariana Grande, the new Chanel Water Fresh Tints, the Youthforia Setting Spray, the new Eyes to Mesmerize and Exagger-eyes from Charlotte Tilbury, some blushes from Phytosurgence, a Joe Malone candle, and I don't think I'll get to it today because I want to do a full review of the REM Concealer, but I did buy the Maybelline Superstay Activewear Full Coverage Concealer. So let me know if you want a review of that, and let's get into it. I only have a couple skincare items to review today, and they're all from Beauty Pie's Triple Hyaluronic Acid line, which you can now get in a kit that bundles together. The retail value is $180, but if you have a Beauty Pie membership, you can get them for $60. This was my first time today trying the Triple Hyaluronic Acid Lipopeptide Serum, and the website says that this has 3 weights of hyaluronic acid for intense hydration, and it also has gravity-fighting peptides and super soothing ceramides. If you know my skincare preferences, you know that I love a really multifunctional serum. I recently reviewed Hailey Bieber's line Road Beauty, which I will leave in the description box below, but they have a serum that's quite similar, just with a different texture, which is similar to my Deux Skin Deliverance serum and my Peach and Lily Glass Skin serum, but all 4 of these do slightly different things, but are generally the same thing. I really like this one because it has a really thin texture and it feels like almost nothing on the skin. And all the products from the Triple HA line are fragrance and essential oil free. I also tried the Triple HA Elastic Lifting Eye Serum. The website says it visibly reduces the appearance of wrinkles, crow's feet, and sagging of the upper eyelid. It tackles puffiness and under eye circles and has a super hydrating, healthy skin effect. I also really like using this on my lips because your lips need a lot of love too. And lastly, arguably my favorite product from Beauty Pie ever is the Triple Hyaluronic Acid Deep Moisture Miracle Cream. The texture of this is insane because it's like a cross between a gel cream and a really beautiful, rich cream. I mean, the texture of this is just what keeps me coming back to it time and time again. It has a dewy finish that somehow doesn't seem to make my makeup too dewy, and a tiny little bit of this goes such a long way on the skin, so you really won't run out of this super quickly like sometimes I can with other moisturizers. They sent me the kit in PR, so I just wanted to mention it, but this has already been a favorite product of mine for a long time. Now let's get into the REM Concealer. This is called the REM Sweetener Concealer, and the website says, this creamy concealer applies with a smooth, lightweight veil and can be layered to your desired level of coverage with a soft, matte finish. This adaptable approach to concealer allows you to conceal, correct, highlight, brighten, contour, and carve. An infusion of REM Hydra Smooth Essence powered by hyaluronic acid for a boost of hydration, ashwagandha known to help protect from environmental stressors, and vitamin E for antioxidant protection, leaves skin sweeter than before. This is $24 and I got the shade Light 5N. So this is what it looks like in natural lighting. It feels very thick. Yeah, there you go. Kind of like a cross between the Glossier Stretch Concealer and the NARS Soft Matte Concealer. It has 60 shades, and I just can rarely find a concealer that matches me perfectly. Obviously, because I'm white, I'm able to make a lot of things work for me, but I just prefer to have something that is my perfect shade match. So I've been testing the concealer for a few days, and the only issue I've had is they say that it's really adaptable and you can build it up to whatever coverage you want. But for me, in order to get that coverage, you have to lay it on like thick. Because it's so thick, you're left with a lot of creasing under the eyes. So today I'm gonna do a couple things differently. So today I only used a little bit of moisturizer and I used a matte sunscreen, the Paula's Choice Super Light Daily Wrinkle Defense, so that it wouldn't look quite so dewy and I wouldn't have a lot of like thick skincare already under my eyes. So on this side, I'm gonna tap Light 5N in with my finger and then probably blend it with a sponge. And then on the other side, I'm gonna use a brush, and on one side I'll powder and on one side I won't powder. So that way you'll be able to see the difference and kind of decide what's gonna work best for you. Beautiful, beautiful coverage. I don't think it's full, but I'm okay with that. I don't mind skin looking a little bit like skin. I think that's pretty damn perfect. So compared to my Fit Glow concealer that's full coverage, you can still see the darkness in my eye here. So I'm adding a touch more and trying to kind of avoid my under eye wrinkle right there. So I'm gonna put that there. Very lightly tap with my sponge. This is the Wander Beauty Wander Cushion. So now I'm gonna try using a brush. This is just an old Real Techniques contour brush, and I'm just taking like a couple taps. I haven't tried a brush yet, so I'm kind of curious. Okay. Just gonna be a little bit more of a sheer coverage. for those of you who like that. Okay, yeah, I think this application looks better. I'm not sure if you're gonna see, but there's a little bit of texture, maybe pilling right there from the brush. So I'm just gonna tap it in with a sponge. And since REM says that you can use this all over the face, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. Just gonna apply, I'll zoom you out a little bit actually. I'm just doing a little bit around my forehead. And I think this is really where the concealer shines, all over the face, because that's where I need a little bit less coverage. I think this concealer looks freaking stunning all over the face. It's so good. And I'm pretty much the pickiest person ever when it comes to concealer because I really have high standards. I want it to be somewhat hydrating without being really dewy, without sliding all over my face and losing the coverage because it's so blendable and stretchable. I want it to be a little bit thick so that it stays in place and I don't lose the coverage as I blend. I want something with a ton of shades. I want something relatively affordable and accessible. I want it to be fragrance and essential oil free, and I want it to last pretty well throughout the day and not crease. So I have pretty high standards. So I'm gonna move on to the rest of the makeup. I'm gonna powder one side after I'm done finishing up all of my skin, and then we'll do a wear test at the end. So I did my brows and a touch of bronzer off camera. Now I'm gonna apply the Phytosurgence Skin Spark Blush Balms. I have the shades Condensate, Evaporate, and Exothermic. I didn't purchase Sublimate, and if you wanna see me apply all three, I will leave a little YouTube shorts in the description box below that you can check out. But I think today I'm gonna go with Evaporate and Condensate. This is the shade Evaporate. It's kind of a muted tan peach. The texture of this is so incredible. It's like a buttery balm mixed with like a whipped mousse. That's Evaporate on the back of my hand. Then we have the shade Condensate, which is a very gray muted rose mauve. So that is Condensate. And lastly, I have Exothermic, which is a kind of dark muted terracotta red, I wanna say. Okay, I was wrong. It's actually more of like a darker muted rose mauve. So when Condensate's here, this is its like slightly darker, redder sister. My favorite way to apply these is just dotting it on with your fingers and then blending with a clean brush, a clean brush. We did not sleep at all in our Airbnb last night, and so my brain is like completely fried today. And I find that with the Skin Spark Blush Bombs, they go on so smooth and really pigmented, but they really blend out to a sheer finish. So with a clean brush, I kind of just like first tap around the edges and you get the most incredible skin-like finish. It just looks like your skin. It's amazing. It's ever so slightly dewy, but not in a way that makes my skin look oily. It just looks like beautiful, healthy skin and not makeup. Evaporate, oof, so good. Now Condensate is really interesting. Since I already have cool undertones, this kind of acts like a blush contour hybrid. So I'll show you a little bit. And again, with a clean brush, I'm just gonna tap it in. And you would think that that kind of weird gray color would look really terrible on the cheeks, but instead, it just looks like skin. You know, it just looks like natural skin. I'm gonna apply just like a touch more there, but you can see that they go on really pigmented, but they do blend out so beautifully, so sheerly, but you can totally build them up too. So there you go, we have Evaporate on this side and Condensate on this side, and off camera, I'm just gonna mix them a little bit and even out the cheeks. I just wanted you to see the colors and how the texture looked. Just adding like a tiny touch of the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless filter. Damn, doesn't matter how many years go by, this just slaps. Real quick, taking my CTZN Cosmetics lip liner in Deux. Slapping that bad boy on real fast. And then my Fenty Cherry Treat lip oil. This shit's so good. Smells amazing, but it smells like strawberry candy. Doesn't smell like cherry to me. It's nice and cushiony. It's not like super, super thick and heavy. It's kind of somewhere in the middle. Love this one. Okay, now let's check in with the REM concealer. So this was the side with 2 layers. This is the side with 1 layer. If I go like this, I'm gonna take my most mattifying and long-lasting powder, which is the Fit Glow Bamboo Blurring Powder. Take a little on my chin. Just a tiny bit, because this powder is like very, very mattifying, and I don't want to get that kind of tight or dry feeling, so I'm just doing enough to take the shine down and let it last a little longer. So around the sides of my nose where we applied that concealer, and then I'll leave this under eye untouched. First, I'm gonna tap this in really quickly so there are no creases. Powdering under this eye very lightly. You can see a little bit of pilling here. Let me try to fix it. Yeah, I don't know what happened with the powder there. I hadn't tried powder yet, and it's kind of looking a little textured. That also kind of took the coverage away, like right where I added that powder. So I'm just gonna add a touch more, and again, I'm gonna leave that one alone. Okay, cool, so I added a little bit more. I was able to fix the texture issue, and now I'm gonna go back in, instead of a brush doing that, I'm gonna do a sponge right under the eye, and just see how that goes. Yeah, that looks much better. Okay, I think the sponge is the way to go with this stuff. So now when I pull my eyes down, you can see that one not creasing, that one kind of creasing. I'm so excited. It's time for the Charlotte Tilbury. Ooh, Exagger-eyes, I'm so excited. I already love the Charlotte Tilbury Eyes to Mesmerize formula. This one is supposed to be a lot more glittery, which I love. So I'm just gonna first go in with fingers and see how that goes. What I really wanna know is if this is a dupe for Hourglass Ray, because it has kind of a peachy base with silver glitter, which is the same thing as Hourglass Ray. Maybe not, but holy hell, that's pretty. So that is a very sheer wash of Exagger-eyes. As you can see, stunning semi-sheer peach base with really fine sort of silver micro shimmer. Oof. Yes. Charlotte Tilbury is also gonna be sending me the 2 other shades. I purchased this one, but then they reached out to me about PR, so I will be able to show you those 2 new colors as well. I'm also gonna put a little bit under the eyes. Even though it is glittery, I feel like the glitter is fine enough that it'll look perfectly fine. So that's the Eyes to Mesmerize in Exagger-eyes. A nice sheer peach with silver shimmer. Popped on some mascara, and I think the lesson that I learned is the Exagger-eyes does have a little bit too much glitter to use under the eyes. I don't like the way that that looks, but on the eyelids. Now I'm gonna try this new Youthforia setting spray. It's their skin moisturizing setting spray. I heard this has a slightly pink tint to help brighten sallow skin. We'll see how that goes. The brand also told me that it's fragrance and essential oil free, which is why I was able to try it out. So the little box says, Youthforia Pregame Setting Spray is a serum makeup setting spray to extend the wear of your makeup, formulated with glycerin, panthenol, allantoin, and Skin Chi complex to moisturize and nourish skin for a dewy, radiant finish. Nice mist. It's not like the finest mist I've ever tried, but it's also not like super aggressive. I also wanted to talk about a candle I just got because it's new to me and it's absolutely amazing. I walked into a Malone store yesterday and instantly I wanted to smell red roses because it's Matilda, who is Matilda on Video's signature scent. She said that she's gone through so many bottles of it, and I sprayed it on me, smelled amazing, but I kind of wanted to see how it wore throughout the day. So instead I picked up the Red Roses candle, and I'm so glad that I did. Oh my God, it's not like a super powdery rose. It's not like really intense. Instead, it's just basically a blend of 7 different roses, and that's it. At least that's what the fragrance representative was telling me at the store. Super simple, super clean. Like, I just want to say it's a very light, crisp, soft rose. I totally see why this is Matilda's signature scent. I think this is absolutely stunning, and I'm not even a floral girl. So I already burned this candle for several hours last night and I'm really happy with it. I definitely have to pick up the perfume now. I do have a couple different complexion products and I wanted to get your thoughts. Let me know out of these which ones you want reviews on. So I have this little blister pack from Sephora. It's the Anastasia Beverly Hills Magic Touch medium to full coverage blurring concealer. That sounds right up my alley. But I also bought this Maybelline Superstay Activewear Concealer in the shade 15. I love that you have this little window so you can see the shade. It's a pretty good match for me. It's a little bit too yellow, but at least it's not too light or too dark. And then lastly, the Chanel, I think Water Fresh Skin Tints. I don't remember the name off the top of my head because these are little samples. And I have the shades 10 and 20, so let me know if you want a review on those. And before we move on to the wear test for REM, I'm just gonna show you how it looks now that all my makeup is settled in. As you can see here, I think the powdering really messed it up. It's kind of lost its coverage. It looks like it pilled a little bit. Now, that could be because I applied that powder with a brush and maybe that just kind of picked up a little bit and left some areas with the concealer, and that makes it look kind of textured. So I'm not really sure, but I'll have to keep trying it with powder because it is nice that it's not creasing as much. And then on this side, I lost a little bit of coverage as I was doing my makeup. I might want to build it up just a little bit, but it's not looking really textured. There's no pilling compared to the powdery side. So right now I am preferring the side without the powder and only just one little layer of concealer. But because I'm a full coverage gal, I'm just gonna add like a touch more, like right here where I just always get a little bit insecure. And then I swear to God, we'll move on to the wear test and I will stop wasting your time. So if I can get the coverage to stay right here, and not crease, I will be so happy with this concealer. Yeah, I'm just really loving the way that this under eye looks. I feel like it is pretty good coverage, but it still looks like skin, and I used it all over the face as foundation, and I think I just look really like naturally put together. Doesn't look too heavy or cakey. So I'm gonna do my thing, do some work, go to dinner, and then we're gonna come back in a few hours and we're gonna see how the under eyes look. Okay, so it's about 3 hours after I applied the makeup, and I do have some fallout from the Charlotte Tilbury glitter, but I think the concealer is looking really nice. As you can see, it's several hours later, and I think from afar, everything looks really good, aside from a little bit of shininess in my T-zone, but let's zoom you in. So the first thing that stands out to me is the Charlotte Tilbury Eyes to Mesmerize in Exagger-eyes is a lot more glittery than I was expecting, and I can definitely see a lot of glitter under my eyes where I put it on my lower lash line. So next time I would definitely stick to just keeping it on my lid, a little bit on the crease, but not putting it on the lower lash line. I think from afar, the concealer looks fantastic. Still good amount of coverage, doesn't look like it's gotten super creasy or weird. I think it actually looks still really good on the sort of outer part of my eye and under here, but where it definitely started fading away is right under the eye where I have that darkness where I really need it. Regardless of which side was powdered and wasn't, it actually looks like it wore exactly the same. So all in all, I would say it's not the most full coverage, long-lasting concealer that you'll ever find, but it has a beautiful medium coverage and a skin-like sort of soft matte finish. My under eyes are my problem area regardless of what product I'm testing. When I move my face, like this is where I have the most movement. So it's definitely not surprising that that's what gets the most wear. I think everything looks really good, and I wasn't expecting it to wear so well on my entire face. So I think the way that the brand calls this a multifunctional concealer is actually really spot on. I would totally agree with that. The fact that they have 60 shades is just fantastic, and I think in launching something that is more coverage and less dewy than the Glossier Stretch Concealer is really gonna hit a lot of the sweet spots for people. While it may not look 100% perfect, nothing ever does at the end of the day, and I give it 2 thumbs up. If you made it this far, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.